There is a specific kind of exhaustion that creeps in after years of constant interaction. Your phone lights up with another message, another expectation. The conversations start sounding repetitive. The laughter feels forced. Every ping feels like a demand on your energy. You are exhausted because you spend your entire day maintaining a character. You shape your reactions, your tone, and your boundaries to keep everyone else comfortable, and it drains the life out of you. Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung observed this phenomenon deeply. He recognized that the human mind cannot hear its own truth when it is constantly surrounded by the noise of the crowd. The compulsion to reply instantly and remain perpetually available is a social survival mechanism, and it actively drowns out the person you actually are. Jung called this social mask the persona. We build it out of a deep, unconscious fear of rejection and abandonment. In this diagram, you can see how we adapt. The inner core represents your authentic identity, but to survive socially, it gets encased by heavy, rigid armor. You become softer around one group, more entertaining around another. You sacrifice your internal boundaries to ensure you remain accepted. Maintaining that performance carries a severe psychological cost. Without an audience, the false self starves, and the heavy armor eventually crushes the light of the individual entirely. To discover your true identity, you have to starve that false self. You have to physically and socially disappear. You cannot know who you are while you are on stage. Authentic self-knowledge requires the audience to leave the room. When you first step away, it feels wrong. You sit in a quiet room, listen to your phone vibrate, and feel an anxious, guilty urge to reach for it. You want to explain yourself before anyone even asks. That anxiety proves how deeply social conditioning has entered the mind. You worry that if you stop providing constant access to your energy, people will simply forget you exist. But as the noise fades, the emotional fog lifts. The endless conversations stop, and patterns hiding in plain sight become glaringly obvious. You notice who contacted you for emotional reassurance, which friendships were mutual distraction, and who relied on your consistency. Strategic isolation does not destroy your relationships. It exposes which ones were transactional from the beginning. Stripping away the noise also forces you to meet the parts of yourself you buried to remain likable. Jung called this the shadow. It holds your suppressed anger, your envy, and the resentment you feel toward people who ignored your boundaries. Look at this cover of Jung's book, The Undiscovered Self. These blurred, identical figures represent the loss of individuality to the unconscious mass. Suppressing your dark traits does not delete them. It drives them into the unconscious, where they quietly dictate your choices and reactions. In complete solitude, there are no distractions left. There is no one else to blame for your emotional exhaustion. You are forced into a direct, often uncomfortable confrontation with your own shadow. To navigate this space safely, Jung developed a practice called active imagination, chronicled heavily in his Red Book. He used it to deliberately converse with these dark internal figures, translating unconscious urges into conscious dialogue. Facing your darkest traits is not a psychological failure. It is the absolute prerequisite for becoming whole. Jung called this ultimate goal individuation. It is the lifelong process of pulling both your persona and your shadow out of the dark and integrating them into a complete, unified self. To start this process, you have to cut predictability. Stop replying immediately. Remove the constant, easy access that allows manipulative emotional dependencies to thrive. Next, you must willingly disappoint people. Recognize that offering boundaryless kindness to everyone is really just a form of self-sabotage designed to avoid conflict. This psychological withdrawal echoes ancient Eastern traditions of sacred silence, like the ascetic practices of the sadhus. They treat isolation as an alchemical crucible, a space designed for total transformation. Look at this early alchemical illustration. Inside this crucible, the pressure of solitude burns away the expectations of the collective. As the chaos subsides, what remains is the pure, authentic individual. True psychological growth demands destruction. You have to dismantle the versions of yourself that existed only to keep other people comfortable. Ultimately, you learn the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being unseen by the world. Solitude is the peace of finally seeing yourself clearly. Weaponize your silence. You must shatter the mask, stop performing for the crowd, and finally start living for yourself. If you are ready to drop the mask, type "disappear" in the comments below and subscribe to join us on the next journey.